Hello.
How are you?
Hello there. My name is Lemon Jr. and I am here with, I believe, another one of the emerging artists in the melodic dubstep scene, Mr. Nikademis. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine. I have just been recovering after such a beautiful night that is in Sovereign in NYC with playground events and synchro events. Okay, first off, I think I already asked this before a little bit last night, but I'll ask this again. How does it feel to be a headline artist, even though you were trying to really live up to Vincent's name and make it up to him? But how did it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it was such an honor. It was unfortunate Vincent couldn't make it out. We all hope he gets better and recovers quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had worked with Playground before over the summer, and they were nice enough to put me on, and I was super honored when they asked me to fill his position. When we got the news, so. It's just it's just humbling. There was a long time I didn't get to perform on any stages at all, so it's super humbling for sure.
So I would say this. I mean, do you feel a lot of pressures kind of increase when you're put in that type of position? I know a lot of people, when you're support artists, it's still kind of pressuring because you're the one that's opening for a bigger artist, but to be switched to a headliner, it's never easy. It's never a fun feeling, but only if you know you can truly do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely that my set time was extended, so I definitely took some extra time, and it's funny you say that because I was talking to my team before the show, and I was saying how I was up super late the night before because, when you're a support act, of course, you still want to put on a great show, no doubt. But, when you get switched to headline, it's a whole different ball game. So I really wanted to take the extra time to make sure that it was something that really I felt was living up to that position, but given the time frame that I had at least. So
but you did it. You passed with flying colors, and even though even though sadly it wasn't really a full decked house, and very so happy that there were people there who were wanting to see you, who were there rocking along with you. I saw the merch, I saw everything. It was absolutely amazing, and I'm just so freaking proud of you and all that you're doing and all that you are creating in your musical career. So. Speaking of that, I'm curious to ask this as well. The journey of Nikademis, what made you want to get into making this type of music, or creating your songs, creating your flips, trying to put your own little spin on certain songs? How did this all begin for you?
So it was back at the end of middle school, actually. It's a funny story. A couple of friends and I, we went to like a school dance, and of course there was a DJ there, just a local event guy, and then we kind of thought to ourselves we could probably do this too, because we were into music, and before then I never really had a genre that I was really into that much. I kind of listened to what was on the radio, which is fine, but then once those couple of friends and I started doing some local, just backyard parties and stuff like that. One of them had showed me some electronic music, and at the time, things that were popular was Clarity by Zedd. That was really big at that time. It's probably want to say around 2013, 2014, when I really ended up getting into it, which was sophomore year of high school. And then after he showed me a couple of tracks, I just kind of delved deeper and deeper into the genre and just totally fell in love with it. And it really gave me a home in music. Then shortly after, just, I split the cost of Logic Pro with my dad, and was off to the races. I spent a lot of high school working on just doing that because I enjoyed it. I wasn't really working towards anything at the time. But then in the last couple of years, I really started to get into like mid-tempo bass right before the beginning of the pandemic, and that kind of led to doing the flips. And yeah, I'm just running with what I got and trying to continue to push forward. And yeah, that's kind of the synopsis of the journey so far.
The journey so far. That's amazing to hear, Nikademis. So what is it? But I'm curious to know, what is it about the mid-tempo genre that really like lures you to it? Because I've been seeing a lot more of those types of flips than anything else. And so I'm thinking to myself, is that something that's like you really enjoy, you really love hearing, or you love putting that little twist in popular songs with that mid-tempo type of edge?
Yeah, so mid-tempo, it really pulled me in, I think, because I really was inspired by electro house when I first got into the genre and like complextro sounds. And then I started to hear mid-tempo by artists by like 1788L, Blanke, huge inspiration, and a little bit of Rezz as well. And I felt like they were incorporating a lot of those like Wolfgang Gardner-esque sounds, but kind of in this different tempo range that I guess felt like more people were vibing with at the time, because electro house and complextro had kind of fallen off a little bit in the last few years when I started to get into, and I still love the genre totally, but I felt like mid-tempo was a new chance for me to like revive some of those electro sounds, but in a little bit of a different manner. So it was really during the beginning of COVID when I started to join like Blanke's Discord and, you know, join this kind of mid-tempo community and started working on some of those types of tracks. And it was starting to resonate with those communities. And I really fell in love with not only the genre, but also the community of artists there.
Wow,
So,
that is absolutely amazing to hear. And I would say this as well. So like you mentioned Rezz, you mentioned 1788L, you mentioned Blanke. So you can kind of say, was it because of those guys that like helped like inspire like the sound in your original works, or was that someone else? Or was that some other artist that like helped define like the original sound of Nikademis?
I would say so for sure. I mean, Blanke was an absolutely huge inspiration to me when I was getting into mid-tempo, and it's been surreal to have his support on a couple of my tracks. And then, you know, on the melodic side, it's really been ILLENIUM that's been the biggest inspiration for me. And I'm definitely starting to lean a little more into the melodic sound, but also incorporate some harder bass sounds as well. So kind of to see if I can bridge a little bit of the darker mid-tempo stuff with the melodic stuff as well. But I mean, early on, my biggest influences were guys like Zed, Wolfgang Gardner, Porter Robinson, Madion. So it's kind of just creating a cross of all of those influences in my head. So
I see. And well, you said ILLENIUM was like your biggest inspiration when it came to melodic stuff. But like, do you remember like what like song you heard that like really made you think maybe I can add some melodic stuff into my works? Because you said you focus more like on electric house and mid tempo, but then melodic came in. How did that like interest come in?
yeah, it's interesting because I had started off when I was learning to produce with more of like the progressive house and melodic house type stuff and a little bit of electro. And yeah, that stuff was really booming in 2014, 2013. And then as I saw kind of bass music start to rise up, I had really taken an interest in that. And I wanted to, you know, start to incorporate my kind of melodic elements back into it. And then, you know, I heard albums like Awake, which I mean, just was constantly on repeat for me. And
Which songs in particular?
oh man, I mean, the whole album does it for me. But you know, Lost was one of my favorite tunes, easily. Crawl Out of Love. I mean, but I could easily listen to the whole album front to back anytime. So
I mean, a lot of people, especially me, can most definitely do so. And I'm so happy that like, you know, that like really inspired you to like think outside the box and maybe add some of that melodic like elements into more of your sound, and it's been definitely working wonders for you. I mean, perfect example is, I'll say, hello, your collaboration with freaking SOUNDR and We Are Fury with I mean, come on, Talking to Ghost. How did that one come to be? Because We Are Fury is kind of a big deal. I'm not gonna lie. And SOUNDR, I've been listening to their voice for a very long time. They're absolutely incredible too. So how did that one come to be?
Yeah, I mean they're all incredible artists. I produced the instrumental demo. I mean probably a few years ago at this point, and then I had sent it over to SOUNDR and said, "Hey, can we, do you think you'd want to work on this?" And she ran with it and did something absolutely awesome. And I'm a huge advocate for mental health and trying to incorporate that into writing. So I kind of, provided her with like some parameters, said, "Hey, this is kind of, what I'm thinking for this." And she told me that it really came to be pretty naturally what she wrote. And then I kind of helped her tweak some of the elements a little bit. So we sat on the track for a while, and I submitted it to some demo streams. And one of them was a demo stream for Mako. And the We Are Fury guys happened to see it, and they hit me up. So they said, "Hey, is this track done yet? Because if not, we'd love to work on it with you." So I sent it over to them. They added some of their own elements. We did a couple more tweaks with the vocal, and then yeah, that was it. We got it out there, and I mean it's easily one of my favorites that I've ever worked on for sure. I think it really nicely like showcases some of my melodic abilities as well, because during COVID a lot of people started to notice me for the harder bass sounds, but I do want to showcase that melodic side as well. So,
which and you're definitely doing that so freaking well, and I'm so happy that SOUNDR and We Are Fury decided to like jump in on that specific skeleton track, and they finally evolved into this. And speaking of that, I mean, I hate talking about COVID-19, the whole pandemic thing, but it's something that was it's like a huge event that happened so far in this particular time. So and especially for a lot of artists as well. So when that happened, after I think the last show that you did at the Mercury Lounge with Playground Events, after everything was shut down, everything was locked up. What did you do? Maybe cope with it, or did you did you take a break from the music, or did you take that section of time to really start grinding and really trying to really make Nikademis a household name in the EDM scene?
Yeah, so it was a really tough time for everyone for sure, and so many awful things came of it, but there was a little bit of a silver lining, I think, for myself, because the rise of these Twitch demo feedback streams and these Discord communities really helped in getting my music to some bigger names and some bigger artists, and a community of people as well, and some listeners. So yeah, I mean, I continued to try to do my best to work through it. I pumped out a couple of tracks for sure, but there were some times where it was tough mentally, and I had some writer's block and some roadblocks. But for me, it's the love for the genre always prevails, and I always push through because I enjoy the music, and I can't live without it, So I did my best to try to utilize that time to make new connections, step outside of my comfort zone, and try to reach out to people more, because I'm kind of intrinsically a bit of an introvert, but connecting with new people is everything in this industry. And I think COVID, in a way, weirdly facilitated a little bit of that through some of these online communities.
Nice. That's amazing to hear. And can you also say that maybe thanks to the pandemic, you had to find other ways to I know you said you're an introvert and you're an introvert, and that's understandable, but maybe thanks to this pandemic, it made you step more into being an extrovert, because I know that communication and talking with other people is kind of like a bread and butter when it comes to like communities of EDM and especially with other artists. So was it like hard for you to like, you know, maybe ease into that, or you're still staying, you know, closed? I guess that's where you're most comfortable with.
I've definitely gotten a lot better with it for sure. I mean, when I first started working on music, I pretty much didn't reach out to anyone. But it definitely has gotten a lot better at shows and stuff, being more comfortable. Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, it's everything to interact with people and communicate with people. So it definitely did facilitate it a little bit, I think. And you know, like I said, it's kind of a weird paradox, because as awful as the pandemic was, for myself, there was a little bit of a silver lining, and I think that's, you know, important. I just do what I can to take a negative situation and see, just got to see what positives you can pull away from it, you know.
And definitely in your situation, there was a lot of positives that came out from it, most definitely. Like you said, you had connections, like you were trying to really like work on talking to people within the pandemic, which is all well and good. I'm so proud for you for that. And here's at the ask, was one of those connections with Keizo?
So are you referring to the track on the label?
You know what I'm talking about. That's what I was wondering, was it with him? Because if it was that, then it makes sense why this particular track with Poni in Welcome Records is absolutely freaking amazing. You know where I was going with that.
Yeah, so I didn't connect with Keizo personally, but Poni was one of the people I connected with over the pandemic, actually, and that's how that collab came about. We met through the Blanke demo feedback stream and totally hit it off. And yeah, when we finished the track finally, or you know, her and her team had just kind of sent out a demo to Welcome Records and just said, hey, would you guys be interested in this? And they ended up taking it, and we were super grateful for it. So and then, you know, Keizo even commented on Twitter a couple times and said, showed his support. So it was really awesome to see.
That is amazing to see as well. And I'm just so happy that like you guys worked on a song, worked on a few things, and got noticed by Keizo and Welcome Records. I mean, another pretty big name in the EDM spectrum. So that I just could not believe that. I was like, I'm just so proud of her and you making the rounds, especially in Welcome Records. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Keizo as well. Been introduced many times, him and his wife Cray and her musicality. So to see you guys be on his label was absolutely freaking incredible. I mean, with Keizo and with ILLENIUM, with guys with them noticing your work, the sky's the freaking limit for you. And again, like we said, I'm just hoping that as in the future, when June 25th comes around, I hope he brings you on to like play a few tracks here and there. I would be absolutely amazing. I really do hope that moment in time does come to fruition for you, because you're in NYC, he's coming to NYC. Like the stars are pretty much aligning. They have been aligning for you for a long while, and I just love seeing the little guys get the attention that they so freaking deserve. You and so many people. It's absolutely amazing. And speaking of other smaller artists out there, the song on Proximity with you and Sad Boys, who absolutely destroyed it out there on the Playground event stage. How did that one come to be, and how did you guys make the song On the Inside and then bring a legend, Maggie York, into the fray? How? Oh, tell me how. Please let me tell you this right now. I am a simple man. I am a simple man. I see Maggie York, I click. I hear Maggie York, I click. It's just my blood, okay? That's how amazing she is. I'll never stop saying that. But how did On the Inside come to be, and how did someone like this song here get put in the Proximity, get noticed by Blake? Tell me.
Yeah, so again, I met Sad Boys over a demo feedback stream, and then funnily enough, like I ended up talking with them, and we found out we live like 20 minutes from each other. So
they're now NYC too.
They're here on Long Island with me. Yep, 20 minutes away from me. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, small, very
small world. That was good. Small.
Yeah, insane.
And after you guys knew that, it was like, okay, song now.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, their stuff's incredible. Like it was, I had heard a lot of music from those demo feedback streams, just sitting in those all the time, and theirs really stood out to me. And then you know, eventually they sent me this demo idea for On the Inside, and it was more melodic at first, and I loved what they did, and I kind of added my darker mid-tempo twist on it.
I had a feeling. I heard the melodic parts of that particular song. That was like, when I heard the bass, it was like, that's Nikademis.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Nikademis. Oh, the worlds were colliding.
Yeah. It was really the I think the perfect combination of her sounds. And then Sad Boys had approached me saying, hey, we think, you know, Meggie would be great for this, and they had reached out to her. She agreed to work on it, and she crushed it, of course. I mean, with everything she does. And yeah, I mean, I just want a quick side note. I'm so grateful for the vocalists that I've worked with, SOUNDR, Meggie included, and so many others that are upcoming on my future releases as well, because they make the tracks. They really do. And I think they even deserve a lot more credit than they get, no doubt.
They definitely do. They most definitely do. I cannot agree with that anymore. I mean, believe me, vocalists are just as important as the artists themselves. Like sometimes in certain songs, they can be the backbone. Like it needs something more special, and they come in and they absolutely add it, and they absolutely destroy it. Every single vocalist I like listen to, I make sure whatever song I listen to, when I see vocalists in there, please let me know who is singing in the background, who adds these type of things in there, because I want to give them all the credit. That's just who I am. Everyone deserves their fair share. Everyone deserves their credits in the song that they make, because without them, would it be the masterpiece it is right now. So
absolutely.
Meggie York and SOUNDR, you know we all freaking love you. And don't forget Amelia.
Oh yeah, Amelia.
Catch me.
Absolutely.
Hello.
That was yeah, that's a throwback. That was a while ago. Yeah, I went to school with Amelia, and she's incredibly talented. Oh man. She came in here to record with me that one day and just crushed it in like one take. And then also, you know, shout out to Ken DeSosa as well, who absolutely crushed it on the collab with Friend Zone. I mean, I'm just so incredibly grateful that these vocalists are willing to lend their talents to these tracks, for sure. So, and
speaking of vocalists, I'm curious to know, in your future releases, or maybe like in the coming of the rise of Nikademis, what other vocalists do you wish you could have work on some of your songs?
Oh man, I mean, first on my list probably is Chandler Layton. I know she might be taking a step away from doing some you know, more EDM type features, but I can still dream. You know, her voice is just incredible, and her songwriting is off the charts. So that's probably up there for me. And you know, a real moonshot dream is Jon Bellion, because he's one of my favorite artists of all time, a huge influence for me as well.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of vocalists that I'm working on some upcoming tracks with that I'm super excited about, and are legendary artists. So I'm really excited for what the future holds. So
I'm excited just as much. And hey, Chandler Layton, Jon Bellion, I mean, Elena Maria has them on speed dial, so maybe you can definitely pass on the name to you, to him and to her. I feel like that can definitely come to fruition. I mean, we heard her working Lonely. We heard her working, I think she was in One More Day, right? With Jason Ross and company. Yep, she was in with Jason Ross and Jon Bellion. What else can be said about him? Good Things Fall Apart. It's a freaking EDM anthem already.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be incredible to hear like their voices in your work as well, and so many others too that ILLENIUM has worked with. And speaking of that, I mean, ILLENIUM's, I feel like if you talk with Nick Miller, he could definitely do that for you. I mean, he's already seen the beauty and he's already seen the talent in you, like we already mentioned. I hope he brings you on NYC June 25th, Forest Hill Stadium. It needs to happen. But also, if he plays your You and Me remix live on that stage, he needs to bring you on there. I could not believe it when I heard that you are a part of the Fallen Embers remix album. Two things, because one, it's you. It's you. It's you on the remix album. But two, we have another remix album coming from ILLENIUM. And I have a feeling that I think it's tradition. It's tradition for ILLENIUM to do that because he did it with Ashes. He did it with Awake. He did it with Ascend. So Fallen Embers need the same treatment. I mean, we already have the Virtual Ride remix of Blame Myself and a few of the remixes from like, Sideways, I believe, and a few other places too. But to see someone like you, someone as small as you and emerging, be put on this remix album, I cannot be any more excited to hear this and see this in its full form. And knowing that someone like you is on here, that tells me this, that there are so many other people out there who could possibly be on there too, who deserve so much love, who deserve so much praise. I mean, I can only imagine, what if Sad Boys could do a remix of ILLENIUM? I can only imagine that, add their own little twist to it. I mean, come on. I mean, who knows? They could remix In My Mind. They could remix First Time. No. Hearts on Fire. That's the one. That's the one. I want to hear the twist on. But dude, how does it feel to be on a remix album with representing ILLENIUM and You and Me? That amazing song. How was that when they said you're gonna be in there? You're on the remix album.
Well, you didn't hear it from me. Because I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say anything yet, but I didn't want to drop it on the fans at the live show a little bit.
You didn't want to, or you did?
I did want to.
Okay.
I did for the fans, but they haven't made any official announcement yet. But I think they should be announcing it soon. So I kind of just teased it on stage a little bit. So
how much? It was only just a tease, right? It was like what, 30 seconds to a minute. Like we didn't spoil the whole package, right? I mean, I try to make sure I don't want to get in trouble with it. I don't want to get in trouble with Nick Miller. I don't want to commit anything if I try and be respectful to him and the work stop. It's unofficial, but still, it's like I want to make sure I tread it carefully.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you didn't hear it from me, but things are looking very good for it. Let's just let's say that. And
Okay.
I'm so, even if it didn't end up getting released, I mean, what it's achieved for me so far has been incredible, and the opportunity from him, and how kind he's been to play it out on like his whole tour. I mean, it's just surreal to me, totally surreal.
Surreal, yes, but I feel like for someone like you, it's so well deserved. I mean, don't think like it's so surreal or it's like I don't deserve this or like this really can't be happening. Dude, it is happening. You deserve what all the success is coming to you. I mean, they already have the support and the backing of Keizo and ILLENIUM and so many other people too. Dude, cherish that, relish in it, and then and make that evolve into something bigger and better, because this is something that you've been wanting to do and ever since middle school. And trust me, I feel like the middle school self will be like I'll be crying happy tears right now because, dude, you deserve this. It's something that I feel like I don't want anyone to like doubt themselves or say like, no, do I really deserve this? Yes, you do.
Thank you very much. It means a lot. It truly does, and it's certainly been it's been a long journey. There's been some hardships along the way, but all of these wins, they make it worth it. So it's definitely been a humbling journey for myself.
I'm happy that you're keeping that humbleness to you. Same thing I will do as well in my own journeys. But also I want to ask this too. So even though No Playground Events was the one that chose the whole lineup for you, I mean, we had some people who came in who were also part of the Base Olympics. I wish I could be a part of that next year. But if you were the headliner again, and you could choose whoever you want to be on the stage with you to represent Nikademis, who would you choose?
Oh man, I mean, the Sad Boys guys for sure are my number one pick. I know they were there last night, but they were so they really have a ton of talent, and I think their sound is so good and so underrated still. They've been getting some opening slots for some other big artists, which I love to see. And yeah, they're definitely up there. I've also got my friend, his name is Luthero, Matt Ryan.
Luthero.
Yeah,
Oh, I know Luthero. Go on.
He's the homie. I would love to have him on a stage. I know he's on the other side of the country, but you know, if the stars align somehow, those would be my two picks right there for sure. I love what they're all doing.
That would be amazing. I would love to see Luthero perform on stage. I had a chance to speak with him a few times here and there. He's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Sad Boys, we already saw Sad Boys in action. So yeah, that's just a given. That's just the automatic you're in.
Yep.
And also, and we already talked about this a little bit, the future stuff that's happening to Nikademis, like we mentioned the whole remix of ILLENIUM. The less the better. But what else could be next for Nikademis? What else might be on the horizon for this particular artist here, Nikademis?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really working to, like I was talking about, bridge the dark and the light a little bit. These dark, heavier industrial sounds and bass heavy sounds, and also the more melodic sounds, because I love both of the sounds so much. That's something I really want to showcase, whether it's at a more mid-tempo BPM or more of like a 150 dubsteppy BPM. So I think what you're going to be seeing is a little bit of all of that. Some heavier mid-tempo stuff for sure, but even some dubstep, even maybe a little drum and bass in there, on SoundCloud for fun. But yeah, I mean, in terms of original, it's definitely going to be a big focus on that melodic with the harder sounds as well. And I've got some awesome vocalists that I'm working with, and some other artists as well. Zach Gray, got a couple in the works with him, and he's been nice. An awesome friend. Maybe something with Luma. I can't say too much yet, but something in the works with her. And yeah, we're just getting all the releases lined up pretty much to hopefully fill out the end of the year. And yeah, I think what you'll hear from here on out for the rest of the year will pretty much be that, that melodic and dark sound at the same time. So
I can hardly wait to hear what is coming next for Nikademis. And you already mentioned names like Zach Gray and Luma, so it's like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be, those songs in particular are gonna be absolutely incredible. I can barely freaking wait to look them both so freaking much in their voice so freaking much. Oh my god, just thank you so much, Nikademis, for all that you're doing and all that you're creating and adding your own.
Thank you, man.
And adding your own path and your own flavor to the EDM scene. We truly appreciate you. And I know that there's so many people out there, so many big names out there already, ILLENIUM, who are already seeing the beauty in you. And I hope they express that so much more in their sets, in their work. I mean, the sky's, again, like I said before, the sky's the limit for you, and there's nowhere to go but up for you. You already have this amazing foundation in your flips and your songs and your remixes. It's only gonna get higher from here. I'm sure of it. I know of it. I'm just so proud of you with all that you are doing, all that you're making. It's an absolute honor to see you live and to finally learn more about you. Just thank you so much for all that you do. We truly appreciate you. No, please understand that.
And listen, man, I see all the support you're giving out to the the bass community here in NYC. Like I said, I told you last night, I saw you out at the Nurko show, vibing in front. when I was hanging out with Far Out.
Mhm.
So, I mean, dude, we appreciate you so much. It's people like you that that keeps this community going and growing. So thank you, man. Truly.
I thank you. I really do appreciate. I really do appreciate that. But it's just me, just being who I am, and me just wanting to shine a light on these people out there who are going to be next. I mean, Hazel and ILLENIUM, like I said, but I keep mentioning them because they're absolutely amazing. But they've been at this for quite a few years. But I keep thinking to myself, who's next? Who might be next to, like, take over their shoes when they're gone or they choose to retire? I feel like it's people like you who could be the next ILLENIUM, who could be
Oh,
the
that
next,
means so much.
who
Thank
could
you.
be the next Keizo, and already stuff you're doing and stuff you're working on could possibly reach that type, that can really reach that type of level. Like you already mentioned, trying to combine the beauty of melodic with the darkness of mid-tempo bass and dubstep. I would say, like you already mentioned Rezz a little bit, like that who inspired your sound. I would say, who knows, if she ever does do a feedback stream, I would love to see, like, submit something to her, and maybe she can get some love there. And if she loves
Oh
it so
yeah.
much, I would imagine that. Rezz, work with Nikademis. I mean,
Oh,
come the freak on. Come
mind
the
blown.
freak on. I
Mind
mean,
blown. Dream come true.
I feel like there is one song, a few songs I know could possibly really like pique your interest. If you could remix, like, maybe Menace or Puzzle Box with him as with her as Subtronics,
Yeah, yeah.
that could really capture their attention.
Yeah, I definitely got it. I got to give a shot at remixing one of her tunes one of these days for sure. Yeah.
That would be amazing to hear. And of course, I feel like if you want to go to, like, people who really know how to combine melodic and, like, maybe mid-tempo type music, I'll know two names right off the bat. Look up Apache, look up Swarm. Those are two names that
Absolutely, man.
absolutely
Yeah,
are
yeah.
doing their thing. Like you listen to some of their work, and it's like somehow they're able to combine like such a atmosphere, such a melodic, but yet such a dark atmosphere, and like they're
Yeah.
really making the best of both worlds, like what you were talking about in your music. So that's just my recommendation to you in regarding to that. Maybe check out some of your stuff and really, take inspiration, take some notes. I feel like it would definitely be it'll be something to at least like look at least. I'm just the messenger guy who's
Absolutely.
just like recommending this type of stuff, but hey, I'm not in your body. I'm not looking like Nikademis, which is looking pretty dang awesome by now. Just thank you so much for all that you do. And I just know that you definitely have a fan in me, and we're definitely all rooting for you and all the work you're doing. Everyone's rooting for you. Playground events, Keizo, ILLENIUM, Vincent, we're all seeing the beauty in you, and just we truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for giving us your talent and blessing us with your music. Know that our love for you knows no bounds, and
Oh,
we only are eagerly waiting to see what's going to be next for Nikademis and how high are you going to be.
Oh, thank you so much, man. It truly means, I mean, it's a ton from the bottom of my heart. My music is my everything. I really have such a passion for this genre. And I just can't wait to continue to share my sounds with people, and hopefully, spread a message with it. So
You definitely are. Keep on spreading the music, keep on spreading your messages, keep on spreading your stories too, because we're all willing to hear it and see it. So thank you so much that you're doing. We truly appreciate you, man.
awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.